Please could we be given warning at the beginning of a programme if there's going to be anything about the Beatles, as all Beatle fans can make sure to listen, and have a chance to ring up other fans to make sure they are also listening.
Hi everybody, this is John here. This is Paul, George
and Ringo.
And we're very happy to be on your program once again.
Hi everybody, Steve Marinucci, your host for Beatle News Briefs, and we have a great show for you today. We'll kick off with the news about the release of the Anthology 2025 collection, and we'll discuss the John Lennon Power to the People release that's coming, and finally we'll review Alan G. Parker's film Borrowed Time. Let's start with the Anthology. The Beatles made a number of announcements August 21st, highlighted with the release of a new 4-disc box set, the Anthology collection, and a new version of the Beatles Anthology documentary. The music set with 191 tracks will come out November 21st. The box will be issued with 4 volumes with the discs from the original Anthology 1, 2, and 3 sets, plus Anthology 4 only available in the box set and not independently. The original discs will be remastered, but we're told that they will not be remixed. The 4th disc with 36 tracks will feature new mixes of Free as a Bird and Real Love by original producer Jeff Lynne using demixed John Lennon vocals. Will also feature 13 previously unreleased demos, recording session tracks, and other recordings, plus tracks from previously released deluxe sets and digital releases. The original Anthology discs contain the original sleeve notes, while Disc 4 includes track notes by Kevin Howlett and an introduction from 1996 interviews with the Beatles' close friend Derek Taylor. A special edition on sale only at the Beatles store adds 4 12-inch band photo art cards. The list of previously unreleased tracks on Discs 4, not including the remixes of Free as a Bird and Real Love, are Tell Me Why takes 4 and 5, If I Fell take 11, Matchbox take 1, Every Little Thing take 6 and 7, I Need You take 1, I've Just Seen a Face take 3, In My Life take 1, Nowhere Man first version take 2, Baby You're a Rich Man takes 11 and 12, All You Need Is Love rehearsal for the BBC broadcast, The Fool on the Hill take 5 instrumental, I Am the Walrus take 19 strings, brass and clarinet overdub, and Hey Bulldog take 4 instrumental. The new Beatles Anthology documentary series, now expanded from 8 parts to 9, will be shown exclusively on Disney Plus starting November 26th. Episode 9 will feature unseen footage of Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr discussing their life as Beatles and at work in 1994 and 95 on the Anthology series. To go along with this Anthology package, the original Beatles Anthology book was previously announced as being reissued in paperback on October 14th. The book has the same number of pages as the original edition. The John Lennon Estate and UMG has announced the release of a box set called Power to the People, with the complete audio of the 1-to-1 concert at Madison Square Garden by John and Yoko, combined with some reworked tracks from the Lennon-Ono Sometime in New York City album. The Super Deluxe Edition box set, 9 CDs, 3 Blu-rays, a book, and assorted replicas and posters will hit bookshelves on October 10th and list at $239.98. The full set includes CDs with the full afternoon and evening shows and a hybrid disc with the best from both shows. Other CDs include live appearances such as the John Sinclair Rally on December 10, 1971 with David Peel, the Apollo Theater Benefit on December 17, 1971, the David Frost Show on December 16, 1971, the Muscular Dystrophy Telethon on September 4, 1972, the Lyceum Ballroom Concert on December 15, 1969, and the 1971 Fillmore East Show with Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. And I should also mention the Lyceum Ballroom Show features George Harrison. There are also unreleased home recordings from the St. Regis Hotel from September and October 1971, and home recordings from the Campus Inn in Ann Arbor, Michigan, some of which include singer Phil Oakes. The Sometime in New York City tracks will have ultimate mixes, evolution documentaries, and element mixes, plus an unreleased studio jam
with Elephant's Memory that includes versions of You Can't Sit Down, Roll Over Beethoven, Honey Don't, Pull Out a Shakin' Going On, and other vintage rock songs. The prices for the smaller configurations: 4LP $169.98, 2LP color vinyl $75.98, 2LP vinyl $64.98, 2 CDs $29.98, and single CDs $18.98. There are some preview videos on YouTube of sample tracks. The track listing garnered discussion on social media because all the configurations omit the songs Woman is the Nigger of the World and Sisters Oh Sisters. John Lennon reposted a comment on Twitter that seemed to indicate that the omissions of the two tracks were out of his control, though he has yet to directly make a statement about this. Some of the concert was featured in the recent 1:1 film, which will be streamed on HBO Max in the fall. The full film of the concert, called Power to the People, also will be released next year. Unauthorized films about the Beatles that you find on streaming platforms for free or for sale generally aren't worth getting any of your interest, your time, and definitely not your money. Thankfully, Alan G. Parker's newest film, Borrowed Time, Lennon's Last Decade, is definitely not that. It does something that the unauthorized films don't do. It reports some major news, which we'll get to in a minute. The film includes interviews with many familiar faces, including many who had direct contact with John and Yoko in later years. They include Tony Bramwell, broadcasters Ilan Peebles, Dave Sholin, and Bob Harris, journalists Ray Connolly, authors Barry Miles, Kenneth Womack, and Philip Norman, and guitarist Earl Slick. The editing between Disc 1, which is the DVD version, had 134 minutes long. Disc 2 on the Blu-ray, the director's cut, at 199 minutes long, is quite different, with Disc 2 not being just an extended version of Disc 1, but a completely different edited film. Disc 2 is also everything basically in chronological order, while Disc 1 is edited in more of a movie style, with the real good stuff, in this case the newsy stuff, at the beginning rather than later as it is in Disc 2. And what's that news, you ask? The most detailed revelations so far have plans of a world tour that Lennon and Oda were planning to support the Double Fantasy album. The film includes details of what their stage might have looked like, and did it look good according to the drawings in the film. An interview with Earl Slick, who said he would have been playing in the band on the tour, and enough information to really make you sick to know that John Lennon's tour that never happened would have been really spectacular. Besides the tour news, the film goes back and looks at John and Yoko's lives before this time and how they got together. It also looks at the Lost Weekend and the Toot and the Snore recording sessions that included Paul McCartney. The film also mentions that Paul had invited John to record with Wings, but the planned session never happened because he had gone back to Yoko. The secret Double Fantasy sessions are discussed, as is the fact that, according to Ray Connolly, John wanted the Double Fantasy album all to himself originally, but Yoko argued against that, and she won, according to the film. Lennon's death is also covered. Journalist Alan Weiss recounts his story about being admitted to Roosevelt Hospital the night Lennon was shot, getting wind of the fact that Lennon was there, and trying to get the word back to his newsroom. Some drawings are shown of the shooting scene, though they are not explicit. As we mentioned earlier, the longer director's cut puts everything in chronological order, including the Lennon tour news, which comes almost at the end of the 3.5 hour Disc 2. But we think it has more effect at the beginning. There are some missteps in the film. Filmmaker Parker includes reactions by the other Beatles to John's death, but the segments go on far too long. He also, early in the film, uses gunshots to illustrate the tragedy of Lennon's murder, but we don't believe that was really necessary. Overall, though, Borrowed Time is very, very good. The blockbuster news about the Lennon tour really has a lot to do with that, but a number of the interviews are quite informative. This is well worth seeing, and you should get the Blu-ray if you have the player to accommodate them. DVDs and Blu-rays in other regions besides the United States are not always playable on American equipment. In this particular case, however, we ordered the Blu-ray from Amazon.co.uk, which gave us a Region 2 Blu-ray, and we were able to play it just fine in our PlayStation 5 Blu-ray. We suggest trying that and make sure you can return it if it doesn't work. We took a chance and we had no problems.
And that's all for today. Thanks very much for listening. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast and give us a great review, please. We would really, really appreciate it. Until next time, this is your host, Steve Marinucci, saying,
Be seeing you.
Keep that one. Mark it fab.